Well, if you recall, in our last grab bag, I showed this as something I picked up at the flea market, and here's the rest of it. I tore it apart here, and if you recall, when I bought this, I didn't really look at it too closely. I was in a bit of a hurry, I guess, but what somebody had done is glued this sight onto it. Well, this is not, that's not the sight that belongs to this gun, and so I wanted to get this fixed, because otherwise, surprisingly, the gun holds gas and doesn't leak and shoots fine. Everything else works fine except for this sight. So we want to get the factory sight back on there. So I ordered a sight from Mike Baker down in Arizona, and that showed up the other day, and I thought we'd see if we can't get this fixed. And the plan of attack is to remove the glue that's kind of spilt out over this thing. I don't know if you can see it there, but the hole here is full of glue, and so we're going to try and clean that up best we can. We're going to use acetone. So I think this is probably super glue. I'm not sure what it is, but acetone will probably take it off, whatever it is. And then clean out the hole as best we can, and then re-tap it for the correct screw, clean it up. And the last thing that we'll do is clean up the brass here, and we have that Birchwood Casey Brass Black that we'll see if we can't clean up these surfaces here and make them somewhat consistent with the rest of the gun. Alright, so here we go. If you're not familiar with acetone, it's kind of nasty stuff. They do sell it at the hardware store, but it's got a strong odor, and it's pretty caustic. Well, I'm a little bit surprised. The acetone basically did nothing, and I don't know if I've got a batch here that's old or not, but I don't know that acetone gets bad or gets weak over time, and I don't want to go to a harsher chemical, so we're going to resort to some old-fashioned methods. I've got a razor blade and a razor knife here. We're going to use that. See if we can clean out the slot here, and then for the rest of it, we're just going to resort to some old-fashioned Swiss pattern files, needle files they call them. These are Nicholson's, and see if we can't get that glue off of there. And then this hole here we're going to try and pick out. We'll do the best we can getting it out of there. Okay, so here we go. Okay, we've used a safe file. The teeth on the file are on the sides, not on the flat part. So we're not going to make the hole wider. And we're taking it down until we can see some brass in there. And I think, yeah, you can see we got brass in the bottom. Now we got to clean up the two sides, and for that we'll use a file that has teeth on the sides, and just to make sure we get all the glue off from the sides of the slot. So what we're looking for is brass on the sides, and it looks like we've pretty well got that too. So we test our fit. And fits in there pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now we got to figure out what to do about the hole, because the hole is full of glue. All right, well, we've got it semi cleaned up here. We're not quite done. I'll buff this up and see if I can't get any more of these scratches out of here. But the thing that's holding us up at this point is the screw hole itself, and the glue has filled the screw hole, and so we can't, of course, screw our rear side into it yet anyway. So what we need to do is clean that out, and I've been trying to get at it with a pick, and it's just, you know, it's awkward. We're not quite getting it. We're not getting much, if any, material out. So we're going to have to drill it to clean that out. And I have a Brownell screw checker, and I checked the screw. It's a 540, number 5 screw, 40 threads per inch. If you don't have one of these and you're dealing with a lot of these oddball screw sizes, these are pretty handy. They come in both the inch and the metric. So I use it quite a bit for these small air gun screws that you run into. So anyway, the 540 is normally you would use a number 38 or 39 maybe, but the 38 you would drill it and then you would tap it, and so this would fit. And I'm a little reluctant to do that because I don't know if our drill is going to wander around in there. So we're going to use a little bit smaller drill. This is a 3/32, and we're going to drill this as best we can on center, and then hopefully the tap that we use will just be cleaning up the threads and cutting whatever glue's left in the threads. And if we have to, we can go to a bigger drill size, you know, to the actual one, and just retap it like you're supposed to for a fresh hole. So that's our next step. I'm going to take it over to the drill press, and we'll drill this out. Squared it up, you know, as best I could, so hopefully we're drilling straight down into this. We don't have to worry about drilling through, because this actually is a through hole, and if there's any burrs we'll clean those up. But we'll put this in here, and hopefully once we get through, because we don't want to go all the way through to the other side and down into the compression tube, hopefully that will pick up any hopefully that'll pick up any chips, and also this will jiggle when we get through. So all right, here we go. It's not quite on the center. Still not. Okay, there it is. We are through. So we're going to take this and see if we can tap it now and get that screw thread back. We've got our tap. This is a 540. I think for this I kind of prefer the this type of a tap holder. You can kind of see how straight it is. We're going to go in and just see if we can pick up a thread. Okay, and that is straight in this direction, and looks like it's straight up and down in this direction too, so we're going pretty good. Just keep it oriented there. Gently. Now if we had left this in the drill press, we could have, you know, guided it in a little bit better, but I think this will work. And there we go. And we've got threads, and they're going through. There we are. Okay. All right. Bring this back out. Now let's see if our thread's in there, or screw rather. And there it is. Okay, so the screw hole's good. And we just got to clean up this mess here. So we've got our gun buffed up, ready to receive the brass black. This is the Birchwood Casey Brass Black. I put a little bit here into the cap. And so here we go. This is clean. And I set the timer here for 55 seconds. And in talking to the Birchwood Casey people, they mentioned that if you go longer than a minute, this whatever this material is starts to degrade, and so it'll wash off, and it'll also affect the finish around it. So we're going to be really scrupulous in keeping this under a minute. So let's see what we can do here. And here we go. Well, we've got a couple of coats on here, and it actually looks pretty good. You know, it would have been better to be able to dip it, but the way we're doing it here, this actually blends in really well with the rest of the gun, in that it's not a particularly new looking finish. It really does look like it's been worn a little bit, but we've got good coverage here, and yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this stuff for an area like this. It seems to do pretty well. Okay, good. I think that'll be it for our Birchwood Casey Brass Black. And I'm going to rinse this off here in another 15 seconds or so. And then I'll bring it back. We'll take a look at it. Okay, well, here's our result. It's not a perfect refinish of the brass, but it's actually pretty well in keeping with the rest of the gun, which has a slight wear to it, and some areas that are, you know, you've got the brass showing through. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the brass black, and I think it's time to put it back together and see if it shoots. All right, well, here we are. It's finished. We have the sight installed here, the rear sight. You can see it's got a little bit of wear here starting even already, but it's consistent with the rest of the gun. And let's put a power lid in here. See what happens. Drop of the secret sauce on here. You do that, and this works its way through the entire system and keeps that seal in there freshened up so it doesn't stick. Okay, here we go. Test this guy out here. Point it in a safe direction, and there we are. Okay, so it works. One last thing before I'm totally done with this is I'm going to check it And let's do that right now. Okay, this is the our scale. We've set it for grams, and this pistol weighs 795.6 grams. So we're going to record that, and we'll come back in the morning, let it sit overnight, and see how close to that we are. All right, well, here we are. It's the morning after here. I'm going to go ahead and check this. Our figure before, the weight on this gun before, yesterday actually, when we put the power lid in, it was 795.6 grams. And we set it on there now, and it's 795.8, so it's gained 0.2 grams, which is unlikely. So this is actually held overnight without any loss of CO2, and I kind of wish I could take credit for it, that I rebuilt it and now it holds like this. But the fact is that I just put a little secret sauce on the power lid and shot one power lid through, and here we are. And it looks pretty good. Pretty happy with how this turned out. All right, thanks for watching.